Hello, if you're receiving this video, it means I'm interested to have you in my podcast called My Podcast Debut. So this is a podcast for people who want to start their own podcast. And it works if you already know very well what you want to create, or it also works if you're really not sure and you just have that call, I want to start a podcast very soon, but I don't know exactly how to position it, and that's fine too. And that's something that we can talk on the podcast, because this podcast is for people who want to start their own podcast. And the idea here is just to have an authentic conversation, so it inspires more people to start their own podcast. I've had my podcast for almost 7 years now. It's called The Light Leaders. It's totally changed my life. And I'm a huge fan of podcasts as a creator, but also as a consumer of them. And I'm super excited to help people start their own podcast, especially if you have good intentions with it, if you want to make the world better through your own podcast. Now, to share a little bit more about how it looks like, you start with booking a time together. So we book an hour, even though the podcast is only 20 minutes. Because I want a little bit of time to connect before, a little bit of buffer, also to connect after. And 20 minutes is a good sweet spot for this type of podcast to get people engaged and watching it. And I will be posting on my YouTube channel, the new one called the Conscious Podcast Lab, which is a smaller channel than my usual podcast, but that's how we get started. If you have any questions, let me know, but I'm excited to dive deeper with you. And I will say that don't worry too much about being super prepared. The whole idea of this is maybe it's your first interview, and to get that feel also for a podcast as a guest, if you're going to become a host soon. And also I have some experience with it, so if there's any question you have during or challenges that you have, we can talk about it before, after, or during the podcast. And in terms of the quality of the audio and the video and the background, so it's going to be recorded on video, and at the same time, we don't need to be perfectionists here. We can simply make sure the audio is understandable, that there's a good connection, and that's it really. I'm using a software called Riverside to record, which is really good, has a lot of AI capabilities, and as a podcaster, has made my workflow so much easier. But it really works like Zoom. You just click the link and you join, and then I'm guiding you through the process of recording this interview. The only thing is, if you record on your phone, which can be an option for many people, like right now, smartphones can have really good cameras and mics. I'm recording on my iPhone 15 right now, and I'm recording almost all my podcasts on my iPhone 15. And it's a really good mic, it's a really good camera. There's no external mic. So if you do that, you need the Riverside app. But anyway, you'll be guided through the process. Right now, all you need is, if you're excited about being interviewed on My Podcast Debut and have a conversation together, find a time in the calendar below. So under this video that I post on YouTube as unlisted, there is a link to a Calendly. So find a time there, and this is your next step. Once you've booked, I'll take it from there. But basically, next step is book a time, and I'm excited, and I hope you are. Much love. Let me know if any questions too.